Hey guys, welcome back to TBN Podcast. I'm your host, Gunnar Michele. All right, guys, today this is a special podcast. I brought my driver, my captain, Ron Nicholson, driver is Trent Montgomery. We're down there at Station 1, 1A, a very powerful place to be. All right, guys, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yep, so I'm Ryan Nicholson, born and raised in Longview. Been with Longview Fire Department for 15 years now this month. I've been a captain up at Station 1 for the past 5 years. That's about it.
Trent, tell us about you, brother.
Yeah, I'm Trent Montgomery. I've been in Longview for 8 years. I worked in Marshall Fire Department previously before coming to Longview. I'm also a hometown Longview guy. I've lived there my whole life, and so Longview Fire's kind of been a dream job for me, and it's just a hometown deal.
So what got y'all into firefighting?
Me personally, man, I didn't have firefighting on my radar going through school, man.
Yeah.
I was a pretty awesome soccer player, not going to lie. But, man, I went to college, had some pro teams looking at me, but met my wife in high school. She had 2 uncles with the Longview Fire Department, and the stories they told really just intrigued
Sold
me. And then blew my knee out, and I was like, you know what? Go do my dream job. I'm going to go hit out that firefighter thing. So that's what got me into it.
Trent, what about you?
So I come from a sports background. I played football. I was assigned to go play college ball, and that ended up falling through whenever I decided wanted to pursue the fire department world, right? Like,
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was jumping into, but I understood, like, I like the teamwork, I like camaraderie, I like the brotherhood, I like the passion of just a challenge, a physical challenge, or the challenge of just something changing every day, right? So I knew I didn't want to do a desk job. I knew I wanted to do something that was going to be challenging for me. So I kind of jumped into this just on a whim, just had no idea what I was really getting into, and fell in love with it, and I chased it, and Marshall Fire Department took a chance on me when I was 19. I just graduated medic school, and then they put me through the fire academy, and I worked over there for right at 2 years, and then came to Longview. So
I got you. So, all right, guys. So, our first topic is leadership. And so, I come from the Marines, whatever, and leadership's, everything to us because it's so valued whenever, we go to combat and other things. Essentially, it's the same shit here. When we go fight fire, we're going to combat. It is ain't, people ain't shooting at you, but it's got its own risk and dangers that are associated with it. And, coming into this at 1A, like, the culture's very leadership heavy, and it's in every way. And kind of what motivated y'all to like kind of structure y'all's leadership styles and kind of develop it?
For me, it was, previous leaders that I worked underneath. They really molded me into what I am today. But outside of that, I mean, they taught me the good, they taught me the bad too. So I learned a lot from them. But also listening to podcasts, picking up different guys that I really looked up to, reading books as well, different books out there on leadership, kind of molded me into the leader I am today.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, bouncing off of what he's saying, just guys that I've got the privilege to work under, him being one of them. I've learned a lot from Captain Nicholson. I've learned a lot from some of the other captains that I've got the privilege to work under. Deriving from sports, there's always a leader that derives in sports, and you kind of have that base that from high school sports that it starts with, right? And you just kind of develop that, and you start learning from guys that have done the trade, and you work under these guys that you even if it's a bad leader, there's something to learn from, right? So you can learn what not to do and what do you hate about that guy. Let's not do that, right?
Yeah.
So just developing your style from other people, if that makes sense. Hey, I liked what he did here. I'm gonna make it my own. And so, just trying to be a sponge and learning whenever you're in good leadership and when you're in bad leadership. Just understanding you're in a learning environment. So.
So going into like kind of that, so whenever I was at Station 6, I was about to become to Station 1, or was talking about it and bullshitting about it, whatever.
How
But
lucky you
I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie to you, I was nervous coming to Station 1 because like you are so proud and you are so prideful, being 1A, whatever. And I thought, I was gonna get there, it's gonna be full of arrogance and cockiness and stuff like that. I felt like I wouldn't be able to be that standard and stuff. But when I got there, I just felt a genuine like love and like support that I did not expect to have. It is definitely way more than I thought it was going to be, because I thought, I'd get there and y'all was just going to make fun of me the whole time, which y'all still do. But, but y'all really care about my well-being. And y'all also care about my skills and being just a good fireman in general. And what kind of drives y'all to stay so genuine and just care so much, because it's hard to find that.
Man, I want the best for my guys, the absolute best. And like I said earlier, I've told y'all many times, y'all all need to promote up the chain. I feel like y'all have those leadership qualities that we as a department need in the future. And so for me, I genuinely want the best for you guys. And I want to make sure y'all are at the A game, all the time. So I care about y'all. I love you guys. I care about y'all not just through the fire service, but I want to get to know you, get to know your families. That's what drives me, is getting to know somebody, what drives them, their passions, and just pushing for the absolute best out of that person.
Yeah. And Trent, you?
Yeah, jumping off of what he said, genuinely caring for people, and that goes a long way in leadership in general, right? Being genuine, being caring, showing people that that you care about them, that they're important to you. But going back to our introduction, both of us being from Longview, and that's our hometown, that comes with a sense of ownership, and just kind of like what you. I've said this before many times, but it's a very real thing that I could be running on my family or my friends, and I know a lot of people. I get crap for that all the time, and so whenever I do run on somebody that I know, they're expecting me to put my best foot forward, and so that expectation and that I've sworn an oath to say that I'm going to give that, right, and so to fulfill that on a daily basis and not just when it's actually needed. That's the challenge, right? Making sure I'm doing the prep work, make sure we're out training, we're pushing each other, and we're holding that line of accountability. Um, y'all depend on me, they depend on me. I've sworn an oath. I mean, there's so many different things that, like, hey, this is the line that I have to hold, and we got to keep it up here, right? So,
And I know Cap's got a personal experience with that. And if you wouldn't mind, if you
Yeah.
were willing to talk about that.
Oh, absolutely. So 7 or 8 years ago, I wasn't on duty, but my father owned a paint shop about a block away from our current station, and he was in there working with the customer, just them two. He collapsed, went into cardiac arrest, and the guy called 911. Station 1, I believe it was C shift, happened to be outside on the apron right by the truck training, so they jumped in, made the block. They got to my dad within a minute and a half. Put the pads on him. He was in V-fib. Shocked him once, got him back just like that. He had no damage to his heart whatsoever. Spent 4 or 5 days up in the ICU in a hypothermic-induced coma.
That's crazy.
And had a pacemaker defibrillator put in just in case it ever happened again. But, man, he's back to his normal self now. So
Did y'all ever figure out what caused that, or just
No,
really?
they said it was, I forget what they called it, but just random cardiac arrest.
geez.
That's nuts.
Unknown etiology is what they said. So.
That's nuts.
Yep.
Going back to Station 1A, the motivation is just outrageous. It's unmatchable. And so what kind of drives that? I mean, because like just the aurora that, 1A upholds, everyone's trying to come to us right now. We have a firefighter might be promoting to a driver, which might be leaving, and everyone's texting us to come hop on the train. And, it must mean a lot, especially for y'all two that's built that culture of the drive to want to go there.
I think the motivation starts the leadership that we have on this group. I mean, he's instilled such a culture in 1A, even from the captain's position, and it just goes all the way down. And we're as subordinates underneath him. We're just holding that line that he's set for us, right? And so he's our leader, and it's invaluable to have somebody that's leading you as far as that goes. And he's pushing training, he's pushing outside training, he's inviting others in to come teach with us, train with us, whatever it may be, and just kind of, hey, we're open to other suggestions, we're open to new training, we're open to new ideas, and having that openness and just wanting to push and train. Like, I mean, it's hard not to be motivated when you're in that environment, right? So, I mean, it just starts at the top, and there's really hasn't been an option. I hadn't even thought of not being motivated since you've been there, right?
I know.
So for me, motivation, daily motivation to come in and do my job, it comes down to two different things. And I've asked you before, what's the motto for the fire service? Save lives, protect property. Number one, save lives, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, it all comes down to the citizens that we serve. Yeah. They motivate me to be the best that I can be. They motivate me to train each and every shift, to learn new things, new ways of doing things, because 3 o'clock in the morning when that mom's in the front yard screaming, my baby's inside. She doesn't want the B team to show up.
No.
She wants 1A to show up.
Absolutely.
And I want to be that crew that makes that grab. I don't want anybody else doing it because I know we're capable of doing it. So that the citizens, number one, they motivate me absolutely. Second part of that answer would be my crew.
Yeah.
To come to work with you guys who are already motivated, who are already at the top of your game, and teaching me stuff, it motivates me to be a better officer. So citizens and the crew absolutely 100% motivate me every day to be the absolute best I can.
I got you. And let's go in and talk about, and I know we talked about it in the past about complacency and stuff like that. And it's something I really don't feel at 1A because, I mean, we're always training, we're always doing our thing, whatever. But I think a lot of places are not as strong as us in that manner just because they don't think it's ever going to happen to them. I mean, everyone's in the mindset, you know, they're invincible, they're young or whatever. They might be old and think they're invincible. Kind of where was that switch for y'all when y'all really started taking the job serious?
Well, like you said, complacency kills. Absolutely 100%. And in my career, I don't think I've ever got to that point where I've just been complacent. But for me, it was when I made driver and I started stepping up to that officer position. The amount of responsibility that I felt on my shoulders then was tremendous. And I was like, I don't know near enough that I need to be the kind of officer I know I need to be for these guys. Not just strategies and tactics, but also leading.
Yeah.
So I think that was a big moment in my career of saying, I got to step up my game. I got to be a lot better than what I am now. So that was a definite change in my career.
I got you.
Yeah, I have a very similar story to that. Like, whenever I became a driver and realized I was going to be stepping into that officer role is really the first time that I started to dive very deep into the fire side of this. Like, I've got to get better at strategies and tactics and leadership. Like, these guys are depending on me. I'm riding that seat for 24 hours that day. Like, something happens, I'm at the helm, right? Like, I got to make these decisions, and I have never been put into that position before. And so just understanding that I'm looking into y'all's eyes whenever I'm there and understanding that y'all are trusting me to be the leader that day whenever he's off or he stepped up or whatever, like, that's a big responsibility. And so I wouldn't even say it was complacency. I would say it was I didn't know what I didn't know, and I just didn't know. And so I didn't know what questions to ask. I didn't know. I had no idea. I had no idea what that burden would be to feel like you're making decisions for everybody around you. And so I wouldn't say it was necessarily complacency. It was just ignorance. I just didn't know. And so getting that grasp and understanding where I'm at now and understanding that I'm working my way to I want to be an officer one day, and I'm on that career path right now, but understanding that comes with more responsibility. And so trying to dive deep and really grasp a lot of tactics and understanding of fireground tactics and strategies and behavior and everything all the way top to bottom is really hit me when I became a driver. So
I got you.
But to say it's never going to happen to me, that's complete crap.
Yeah,
you cannot have that mindset.
No.
That's what's going to kill not only a citizen, but you or your brothers.
Exactly,
And I mean, ask Trent, he's made 17 grabs already. It's going to happen at some point in your career. And to say it's not going to happen.
It's definitely going to happen. I think complacency, the famous quote is complacency is the silent killer, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's been said many, many times. And so, just getting the mindset that it won't happen to you is a very, very dangerous ground to be operating on. And just, you've got to stay vigilant on wanting to learn more and keep up with it and work hard. So.
Instead, we need to be saying the next fire I go to is going to be the one.
Yeah.
It's going to be the one where the Mayday happens. That's going to be the one where I have to go make 4 grabs in the same house. That's the mindset we need to have.
I agree.
Because
that's
that's
awesome.
that's what we're going to train for.
I agree.
And when it does
That's
happen,
what we're training for, right?
When it does happen, we're confident and competent in our skills and our abilities to perform whatever task needs to be done.
Yeah.
And Trent, I know you got a story that kind of probably will sit with you forever, not allowing you to ever get complacent.
Yeah, I had a close call last year. It was about a little over a year ago. It's actually a crazy story that Captain Nicholson's sitting right here, and we'll get to talk about this. So we were on the medic. We were on Medic 1, and me and him were riding the medic together for the first time. Many years
Too scared
coming.
to ride it.
Yeah,
Every time I told you
many years of
beforehand.
him talking trash to me that I was too scared and I couldn't ride with him, and I understand why now because of what happens
Shit
when I ride
happens.
with him. Yeah, very first time, and so we'd gotten killed that day. Ran many calls. I don't even remember how many, but it was 4 in the morning, 4-ish somewhere in there, and so we get bumped out to a nursing home call. That's priority 3. It wasn't emergent, nothing serious. But as we're pulling out onto the apron, a structure fire drops right in our district, a block away, and it was the music store. Uh, Nicholson's Paint was in a strip mall, and there was a music store right next to it. And so the music store next to his family's business came in on fire. And so obviously we jumped the fire. We're headed to the structure fire. Well, since we were already on the apron, we're up, we're dressed, we got to jump on everybody. A huge jump. So we're there 30 seconds later. It's not any time, doesn't take us any time to get on scene. Get there, there's heavy fire involved, strip mall, commercial building, large commercial building. There's exposures on every side. It's a paint store that's on fire, so you have heavy, I mean, just the material, the load, everything is we got
was
the
hot.
cards
Yeah.
against us.
It was hot.
And so it is to this day the hottest fire that I've ever been on, by far, hands down. It's not even a question. So, obviously, Captain Nicholson he was sitting in the passenger seat, and he pulls up, sees his family business on fire, and I mean, I couldn't even imagine being in his shoes and seeing this, and not only seeing it, but now I'm the first one to respond to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, he was in a very like that's hard to keep. Let's make good decisions. Let's think about what we're doing. And so I get on scene, give a very mediocre size up at best. And so we get out, and he is hell bent that we're going in this damn fire. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, obviously, he ain't going by himself, but oh boy, here we go. So I'm like, hell yeah, I guess we're going. So we pull an 1 3/4 line, which was way too small for this fire. And so when we're talking about making good decisions, that was one of our not so good decisions. But hey, we got water on the fire, right? We're doing better than nothing.
Yeah.
So we're flowing water, and we get up there, and to me,
A little too close.
we're a little too close, but we're spraying water. We have a two and a half getting deployed. It's beside us. They have the blitz nozzle on the ground. We're making a push at this point, and to me, like I was in a tripod position. I was just moving because I was trying to stay lower, and we were inching up just slowly as we keep flowing water. We just keep progressing forward to this building, and I got to the edge. I'm under an awning that was outside of this building, and it was a concrete awning. I get to the very edge of where the window was, and I'm about to advance into the building and keep pushing, making a push through the fire. Felt like we were getting a really good knock on it, and next thing I know, that awning had collapsed on me, and I was underneath a lot of heavy stuff. And
Yeah.
I've had sheetrocks fall on me. I've had stuff hit me in the head being in normal structure fires, like I'm sure many people out there have. But this was way different. I knew something. I didn't know what it was. I just knew something heavy had hit me. I didn't know if it was a complete roof collapse. I didn't know what it was. And so, safety officer on scene that day, Dusty Burks, did a great job. He was very quick on calling a mayday. He called it. He saw it all happen instantly, immediately called a mayday. Very calm, collected, and the guys executed. I mean, we did what we trained to do, right? And so, luckily, I was on the recipient end of a good outcome from a mayday, which is not what we study. It's not what you read. That's not what you hear about. But yeah, that day, I mean, I have the mindset that I'm part of the best crew. I'm here. I don't want to say necessarily complacency, but
Ballsy.
you get comfortable,
Yeah.
right? You start getting comfortable. It hadn't happened to me. We've gotten
Yeah.
lucky a couple times. We're getting comfortable, and I pushed the button, and
Yeah.
it happened to me, right? So instantly, it just kind of puts everything into perspective. It puts life into perspective, right? It puts family into perspective. I have a wife and daughter at home that beautiful wife, beautiful daughter that I go home to, and I've got to answer questions to at this point, right? And so it puts life into perspective very quickly, and to understand that guys have that side of it. We don't think about that a lot of times. We're at work, we're doing our thing, we're hanging out with the boys, we're having a good
Yeah,
time.
always badass time.
But at the end of the day, we do a dangerous job that we have a family that we got to go home to and look at, right? So
Yeah.
that's a whole nother aspect that kind of puts things into perspective. Is like, holy crap, this is maybe
This is it.
But this is why we train, right? This is even more while we get back to the training.
Yeah.
This is what we train for, even in Mayday situations. We do a dangerous job at the end of the day. What we do is dangerous. It is what it is. I think we get comfortable in not thinking it's dangerous because we win a lot of times.
Yeah.
We win 99% of the time. I would say 95. I would say, but that 5% of the time when something goes wrong and something goes bad, that's what we train for, right? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's my story on not being complacent. So.
You know, man, it's a crazy story, and we're gonna roll over to the rookie stuff. So how do you instill that in a rookie? Not to get complacent, as you get these guys, I'm sure they're fired up and stuff, but they might get around a crew that might be more relaxed and they don't train as much and stuff. Then they kind of come to y'all and they're kind of setting away. Kind of how would you handle that? Because it's kind of hard to break complacency. It's almost like the only way to break it is to go through some bad shit. You know what I mean?
You got to sit them down and tell them stories like this.
Yeah.
They got to hear that because they've never been a part of it. In my 15-year career, I've had 2 fires. That's one of them. I've had another one where it made me realize we're not all that. Sometimes the fire is going to beat us. Sometimes we can do everything we can perfect, and the fire is going to beat us.
Mm-hmm.
So, number one, they need to hear stories like that. Number two, as the officer, you got to sit down and talk to them.
Yeah.
You got to tell them, hey, complacency has no place in this business.
Mm-hmm.
None whatsoever. Get off your butt. Let's go train. You got to instill that attitude and that drive within them to get them out and get them working.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, Trent.
I think it goes to another level when you can make it personal. And so one of my biggest benefits from that story, I would say, is the fact that I can make it personal now. I can make it personal. I can get on a personal level with these new hires. Hey, I'm working in your department. I'm working at your station. I'm working on your crew. I'm working right beside you on the medic or on the engine. I'm on your apparatus that day, right? We can get...
that could have been you.
That could have been you. And any point, it could be you, right?
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of times whenever I was coming up in the fire service, I used to watch these Mayday videos, and it was always these big departments, and it was these big high-rise fires, and it was that.
It'll
whatever,
never happen
right?
here.
And I'm like, man, that was such a big different fire. That's not something that's going to happen here. And that was pure ignorance on my part, not just pure ignorance. And so understanding that it happened in Longview, it happened to me. It happened to me that's going to be sitting right beside you on this apparatus, right? It just brings that personal level to it that we can drive it home that, hey, this is serious. We're not just talking about something that happened in Philadelphia. We're not happening in Detroit or New York or Houston. We're not talking about things that happen miles away. This happened right here.
Yeah.
And so we can watch all those videos, and there's so much to learn from those videos. And I was just ignorant when I was young in my career to be able to learn those things. But now that I've experienced it, it's a very personal subject to me and in the fire service. And so being able to put that personal touch on it is, that's
invaluable. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, going on to this rookie stuff. So I'm the rookie. So I've only been at the station I'm at for the department I'm at for about a year now. And so I still claim the rookie status. I'll claim it probably till I die. But so there's a lot of things.
But you got a black helmet now.
No, it ain't it. And I didn't. So we had this conversation the other day. What classifies a rookie or whatever? And my answer was, I'll always be the rookie to somebody. Because a previous staff sergeant told me I'll always be a boot to somebody. And so to me, it's the same term, same shit applies. But Trent, I don't think he was there for that conversation. But Cap, who else did you tell it to? I think it was Barth. No, it wasn't.
I think it was.
It was Barth. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you had a pretty good answer to it. What do you think is like when you're not a rookie no more, I guess?
I don't think there's a specific time frame, and there's not an amount of experience that you can get to say I'm no longer a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when you're not the rookie anymore. Something in your head clicks, and it's like, you know what, I'm not the rookie anymore.
Mm-hmm.
When you have guys coming underneath you, they're asking you questions, wanting to know your experiences, coming to you to teach them different things. I think that's a good indication that, you know what, maybe I'm not the rookie anymore. Now I can pass on the knowledge that I've gained as a rookie to these guys. Now, that to me, that's a big indicator of I'm not the rookie anymore.
Yeah.
But I know Trent feels this way. You're a rookie just about every position you promote to.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
That's a whole nother level of that. Just to second what he's saying, he nailed it. There's no experience. There's no timeline to this, right? There's no magic. Oh, you're 1 year. Oh, you have your 5 year, whatever, right? There's no magic timetable to it. It's experience. It's time on the job. It's putting yourself into positions to get that experience. It's decisions that you make. But understanding that no matter, like, when you promote to that next rank, you're a rookie all over again. And not to say that you ever graduated from that rookie mindset, if you will, that I'm still hungry for the job, but going to that next rank, you're a rookie driver now. I'm going to go to an officer. I'm going to be the rookie officer now. And so understanding there's a rookie at every rank. And there's just because I'm an officer now, and I've been here, say, 12 years at that point whenever I make officer, I'm a rookie officer, right? And so understanding I'm a rookie in my role,
Yeah.
there's different roles that everybody plays. And once you promote to a new position, you're going to promote to driver one day. You're going to be a rookie driver all over again.
And do you feel like a rookie?
So, absolutely, you feel like a rookie. Whenever I promoted to driver, I was like, holy crap, there's so much that I need to learn. I need to get better at.
Yeah.
Just like I told you a while ago, my first really big aha moment, if you will, was when I became a driver and I realized I was going to be stepping up into that that captain's seat. And I'm like, oh crap, like I better get my crap suited up. Like I need to get better at tactics. I need to get better at strategies. I need to understand fire behavior, smoke reading. There's so much I need to get better at, right?
Yeah.
And so whenever you jump into that, you feel like a rookie all over again. There's so much that you do in rookie school when you're first coming in as a firefighter, and then you get a little more responsibility with that promotion, and you have all these other responsibilities that you haven't done before, and so you're a rookie all over again.
I've been an officer for over 5 years now. In my battalion, I've got 3 other officers. One's got over 25 years experience as an officer. One's got over 12 or 15 years. The other one the same 15 years. So we go to a battalion chief meeting, and you got somebody that has to take notes. They're the minute guy. I'm the rookie. I'm the minute guy. I'm writing everything down. You know, we'll go around the table asking, well, you got anything to say? And everybody's pipe up and say something. They get to me, Captain Nicholson. Nope, I'm just listening to everything, taking it all
There's
in.
a place for that, though.
Absolutely.
Like whenever y'all are conversating, I don't try not to say anything. Right? You just got to know your place. And I mean, if like Chief Mo Davis walked in this, house, I mean,
Yeah,
you're not
we're
gonna say
shutting up,
anything.
right?
Yeah.
You know,
We're all shutting
yeah,
up.
like same thing when I was in the military. I mean, when our higher ranking officers, these guys that's got stacks of ribbons and stacks on ponding stacks, you don't say a fucking word. You start shaking when they walk in the room,
Yeah.
because they just got so much experience and so much just. I don't know. You look at them people differently. You give them just the respect that you give them and stuff. It just makes things weird for the good.
Yeah, but
But-
you know, as a rookie, there's certain things that we're looking for in rookies.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we mentioned it earlier, that positive attitude. That's invaluable.
Very
Positive attitude, a motivation, a drive, a desire to learn. Man, those are all crucial things to have as a firefighter, as a rookie. Because if you're not up to par on your skills, if you don't know how to throw ladders, if you don't know how to start a chainsaw, if you don't know how to do a proper search, I can teach you that crap. That's no problem. But what you have in here, we can't teach that. That's what matters to me as an officer coming in as a rookie.
Yeah, Trent, what about
Yeah,
you?
you got to have that eagerness. I mean, that's the platform of starting everything, right? It's the classic saying, you can't lead a cow to the water and make him drink, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can do all you want to. You can push them all you want to.
I think it's a horse.
Yeah, I think it's a horse too.
Horse,
We could
cow, pick your damn animal. Right? But you can't make people to do something just because you want them to, right?
No.
Like, we can train them all we want to. We can push all the educated material. We can push all the studies at them. We can do everything we want to. But at the end of the day, if they don't make that personal decision to say, I want to be a good fireman, I want to be a good paramedic, I want to be an asset to this fire department. If they don't make that personal decision, that I'm at a dead end road, right? Like, I can push all I want to, and the best I'll ever get is mediocrity.
How quick can you pick these guys? So
Oh,
tomorrow we got 15 people we're training tomorrow.
Within 5 minutes.
Immediately.
Really?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it doesn't take long. It's easy to pick them up.
Yeah, same. Same when I used to get the new boots. The guys that are striving. You can see it in their face. You see it in their eyes.
yeah.
You really can if they're gonna be jam up. Because I do believe it's either you got it or you don't. There's that 1% that's either you got it or you don't got it. You know what I mean?
Hey, I saw it in your eyes.
Yeah, it was easy
I'm
when
blushing.
you when you come in. It was easy to spot you. Like
It was.
it was just even just the concentration on what we're doing, the engagement, right? Like there's a level of engagement on whatever we're doing. It doesn't matter what we're doing, but that level of engagement, whether it's just we're studying, we're talking, or whatever, like you can pick up on that very quickly.
Yeah,
I think I told Trent after I new hire training with you, I looked at him and said, I'm going to have that guy on my crew. One day.
One day.
Yeah, came on the crew and I
it.
kicked Trent's ass the first day. Oh no!
Was that after the ice water?
Oh yeah. So I was taking a shower. So excited to take a shower in here because the water is fucking going hard and it's warm and stuff. And these fuckers have no boundaries. So next thing you know, I got ice going down. And I look to my right and it's like flour in my face and my ears and everywhere else, down to my crotch, my butthole, everywhere.
Right in your mouth.
Yeah, right in my mouth. It felt like a golf ball. I hit the wall. But yeah, we have a great time. But and it's just it's hard to, I don't know, put it in words, because you want everyone to succeed and stuff. But there's just that 1% that that's going to do well.
Yeah.
And you don't want to play partial to them guys, but why not want the best, But, so as we rolling into that, so what do you expect out of these guys? Like on a daily basis and stuff, and like how do they kind of manage time and what's more important to y'all? If they take training more seriously, they take chores more seriously, kind of what's their role?
Yeah, I think it's a balance. I think it's a balance on understanding your roles as a rookie, right? And there's certain things that I may not like to do as a driver, but I still have to do them, such as text first. I have to do these reports. I don't like doing them, but I still have to, right? And so when we go to training, we can go train all day long. We can go do a 12-hour training that day. But at the end of the day, at some point in this shift, I've got to sit down and do what I know I have to do. And it's the same thing with rookies. It's a time management thing. There's certain things that rookies are expected to do. Take the trash out, fold the towels, do the dishes, whatever it may be, like whatever the list may be that day. There's a certain time that they may have to do that, whether it's, hey, I'm going to get up 30 minutes before the rest of the guys on the shift change. I'm going to get up early and make sure all that stuff is done. But you want to make sure that those things are done and we don't miss out on training. We're not taking away to make sure those things are done, but you still want to make sure that your roles of the crew were done that day, right?
Yeah.
So it's a time management. It's a balance between the two of them. So
I'd much rather have a rookie that wants to get out and train than worry about chores. I know a bunch of rookies are worried about knocking out chores. Mm-hmm. You come to my station, that's the last thing I'm worried about, right? I want to get out and make sure you know what you're doing when we're first on scene. You know how to perform a proper search. I want to make sure that you're squared away on that stuff.
Yeah.
Because the chores can come, like Trent said, at any point in time. We work 24 hours. There's going to be a break somewhere. And when we all sit down for a break, that's an opportunity for you to knock out those chores as a rookie. So for me, chores is not an issue for me. It's whatever. It'll get done. If it doesn't get done by the rookie, somebody else will do it.
Yeah.
So I'd rather see a rookie come out and push for training and seek training and ask questions because we're going to take that time with them to make sure they know what they're doing.
Yeah. And so, as we kind of piggyback off that, so I'm the rookie going into a station where guys are not motivated, guys don't want to train, and how do I know I'm getting the right training? Do I just fall back on YouTube and different other platforms, other trainings?
Well, first off, if you come into a station where you got guys that are complacent, that are roached up on their recliners all day long, that's not an excuse for you to do the same thing as a rookie. As a rookie, you still need to get out and train. You can tie in a landline to a hydrant and work on flowing and moving. Mm-hmm. There's stuff that you can do by yourself. And the thing is, whenever those guys look up and are like, hey, where's our rookie at? One of them's going to come outside and find you. Mm-hmm. But, hey, man, what are you doing? What are you going over? Oh, I'm going over this. I need to get squared away on this. Well, let me show you some tips on it. And then somebody else come down. What are y'all doing? Oh, we're going over these moving at 2.5.
Yeah.
Oh, let me get in on that.
Battle the ego.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Absolutely.
So that's the number one thing. But if they still don't get it, if they still aren't coming out with you, man, YouTube, number
Yeah.
one. YouTube, you find just about anything, any training you want on YouTube, but you just better make sure it's a vetted person teaching that, because anybody can get on YouTube and teach whatever they want.
Yeah.
But for me, I personally, the outside classes that I've gone to, there's a core group of guys out there that are teaching right now. I go to them for any type of training because I've been to their classes. I know that they've got the experience. I know they've got the knowledge. I pull them up on YouTube. That's what we're going to train on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking off of what Cap said, be that guy that's going to initiate that training, right? You're going to be the biggest recipient that day. Everybody can be the recipient of training, but that guy that has no knowledge and is building off of nothing, he's gaining the most,
Yeah.
right? And so be the one to initiate that, and those guys are going to come out there and they want to learn with you. And if they don't, then we're going to make them feel like they're going to be the outsiders.
Yeah.
Right? We want to make it. Let's take that and completely 180 it to where it's the cool thing to do, to want to be engaged and want to come out and train, versus somebody over here that doesn't want to. It's not cool to go sit in a recliner and not be good at your job anymore.
I think you're already seeing that shift right now.
That 180 is
absolutely.
happening
In the entire
And so-
fire service, you're seeing that shift of guys wanting to get out and get after it.
Right, and make that a minority. People don't want to be a part of the minority. I mean, that's just human nature to not want to be a part of the minority. And so whenever you make the minority is now the lazy people that are sitting in the damn recliners and stuff, and that's the minority, that's a complete 180 culture change now, right? Like, it's in the engagement, the training, the want to learn, the want to be better is what's cool now. That's just a generational change in the fire service, right? And going off of secondly what he said, the YouTube deal, like, there's so much social media information out there. Like, there's so many different websites. The internet is endless on information. Make sure it's vetted, like Cap said. Make sure it's good information. And it's not just somebody just throwing something out there on the internet like anybody Joe Blow can do, right? So just making sure it's good information, but the information out there is endless. Whatever subject you want to go on.
So I want to hit on some tradition and culture stuff. So we take that pretty seriously down in 1A. I mean, Cap's got his 300-year-old chair that King Tut sat in himself, and he's got the kitchen table that's been there. I don't want to make this joke because it's kind of bad, but it's where Jesus had the Last Supper. But that's how old this shit is, and people's been trying to throw it away forever and
I
stuff
have
like
grabbed
that.
that chair out of the dumpster multiple times. Quit throwing away my chair.
And he still sits in it, and it's old as shit. But it's just, I don't know. It's just what Station 1 radiates is that tradition to culture and stuff. And kind of, was it always like that? As y'all's career kind of grew at where we're at, or is it something that just kind of started, or?
For me, it's always been that way.
Yeah.
The amount of tradition and history at one, it's always been there for me. Built in 1936, old station. We're one of the only stations between Shreveport and Dallas that still has brass poles. We take care of them every Saturday.
Yeah.
I see you on a ladder, rubbing that polish on there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, the flags, taking the flags out.
Stroker.
I
Best
made that
out there.
motion. I was like, wait a second.
It's so bad for me because I got to sit on the top rung. Of
We
the
all
ladder.
know you can't reach it. Don't worry.
I go get the top of this, please.
But even the flags, we're one of two stations in Longview that still has no light on the flagpoles. So we have to take the flags out and raise them every morning and then take them down every night.
Yeah, I forget it most of the time,
Yes,
and
you
Robert's
do.
got to go behind me.
Yep. So, those are all traditions that I am dear about because we're the only station that does it.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's awesome. Tradition means the most to me because, the military, Marine Corps is all founded off of tradition. Everything about us is tradition. And so it's just cool to be able to, mirror that going into this.
I think tradition's so heavy at Station 1 particularly. Like you go, and I've worked at Station 6, and I've worked at some of these other big stations that are the new big cool thing now, and it's just this huge fire station that becomes separation, right? Like everybody has their own room, and they all go to their own bathroom, and they all have this living area that we may get together and watch a movie at night, whatever, right? So Station 1 forces you to be together. Like we're sleeping by each other. It's an open living quarters. You're
Gotta
right
listen to you
beside each
snore.
other. Yeah, we got to listen to each other snore. Tell people to get CPAPs. Right, we're doing the whole thing. The good, the bad, the ugly. We're right there together, right?
You got
So-
Robbie twerking in the back room, wearing Juway's shirt. Did you see them photos?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
God, it's ridiculous.
So we got. I mean, it forces you to be together. So the tradition there, it's one of the oldest buildings in Longview. It's just there's so much tradition where we're keeping the brass, we keep the table, we mop the bay floor, the brick bay floor, we sweep and mop it, keeping it clean, and there's just so much tradition and history there. And where that becomes special is the guys that have come before us, right? Like you sit there, and I know I've heard stories about guys that worked at Station 1 and just the tradition and being able to put my stamp and be a part of the history of that station it's invaluable to me. And so I'm honored that I get to be a part of Station 1 because of the people that have come before me.
Yeah,
So
it's an honor. That kitchen table you're talking about, it's over 40 years old. And so I've sat at that kitchen table as a rookie and listened to guys, you probably don't know names, but Joe Lynn or Muttley, old hands that I learned a whole lot from. I remember sitting at that table listening to stories from them, and I'm just like, man, that is awesome. And now I'm here at that same kitchen table sharing stories with you.
It's
I
awesome.
mean, that is, yeah.
Because we're always
full
dragging.
circle.
I know it. When Captain Beckham came the other day, I was dragging to get him down there. You know, smoke cigar and just hear the stories. I love hearing stories. That's my favorite thing at work is hearing the stories about people's careers and stuff, especially people like highly respected like Captain Beckham and y'all's stories and stuff. It's cool to me. I don't know. I'm weird. Where in y'all's career did y'all like care so much about culture or like when you started looking at it, you know, in a more important essence than just going having fun on the job, you know?
That's a tough question. I don't think I've ever really thought about that. But
I think the more I study leadership, which is already come into I've been studying leadership quite a bit recently, and just I'd say really heavily the last year or two. Just when I started stepping into the officer role whenever he's off and stuff. But the more I study leadership and just understanding culture and how to build a culture, right? That's where it started for me. Like it's understanding there's going to be a culture regardless
cool,
of
yeah.
what you do.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good culture or there's going to be a bad culture. It's a matter of how do you develop that culture? How do you nurture it? How do you treat it? And if you don't keep your hand on that culture, you're going to have there's going to be a culture no matter what. And so do you have a good one or a bad one is up to you. So
yeah, for me, I think when I became a captain at Station 1, I was thinking to myself, what kind of culture am I going to build up here? Mm-hmm. What kind of legacy am I going to build through the culture that we develop here? And so for me, I think that's probably when I started really thinking about how am I going to build the culture up here. Because at that moment, there really wasn't that culture up there. It was, man, you're coming to Station 1, the busiest station in the entire department. It sucks. You're going to ride the ambulance. You're going to get hammered. But now, man, it's a place people want to come.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You know,
And so, but for me, you've got culture as a whole department,
mm-hmm.
and then you've got subcultures within that department at your own stations. Mm-hmm. And you're building on that subculture, and then as a whole, we're building on the culture overall. And so I heard it brought this way is the culture of the department is the pulse of the department.
Yeah.
And if that pulse is low or weak, you're going to see the effects of it. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be running properly up like you should. You're going to be weak. You're going to not perform like you should. So as an officer, I need to have a pulse check. I need to check on the culture of my station, subculture within my station. As chief officers, they need to be going around the stations, checking the pulse of the culture. Because if there's a problem, we need to fix it.
Yeah.
This culture drives everything, in my opinion.
No, I agree.
And so you've got, as an officer, chief officer, you've got to have a grasp on the culture within your department or in your station.
Yeah, I guess, you know, looking at it now in that essence is like, you know, like morale is part of culture. just being good at your job is, part of the culture. I mean, okay, I have a good perspective on that now.
Yeah, culture is such an
Yeah.
umbrella for so many big topics,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And just understanding what you're normal for you guys, what is normal, and where is their standard, and understanding that I've laid the work down and the dirt work to build a relationship with these guys, and I have that personal relationship that I know when a bad day is, and I know what normal is, so I know that when they're off, and we have that our thumb on that pulse, and so when that culture starts slipping and we start lagging in our job, you understand that because we've deviated from what normal is. Going back to what the culture at Station One, something I want to give absolute kudos to is to Cap Nicholson is when he first became a captain up there at one, like he said, there was nobody putting in to go to Station One. It was the busiest station. It's outdated. It was just kind of like a sluggish. There was
Yeah.
just there wasn't the pride in it that there is right now. It was a lot of guys that didn't want to go up there because it was a busy medic and all these things, right? There was a lot of negative that came with putting in for Station One. I think that has changed tremendously because of the culture that he's developed there. I think the Cowboys would call him for recruitment right now because he's the best recruiter there is, right? Like he can call and he can recruit who he wants to, and it's because of what he's developed. He's laid this work that, man, I want to be a part of that. It's an honor for him to call and want me to be a part of that crew because of what we've developed up there now. So,
And it's crazy though. Like that's one person changing a culture, a particular place that's
Yeah.
affecting the department because
Absolutely.
everyone is fighting to go to.
It's just radiating. It's radiating.
It is because Robbie's about to be promoting soon, and people are already hounded to come over here.
Yeah.
And I guess a few years ago or a year ago, no one else wanted to come there.
When was the last time you didn't have somebody put in for a position, Kat?
I haven't.
That's
Before
nuts.
he got up there were people being administratively moved there because there was nobody putting in for it.
Yeah.
So the newest guy got automatically assigned up there. And he hasn't had a position come open and not have a guy put in for that position.
I was hunting
That
since day
speaks for
one.
itself.
I was hunting since day one. I got administratively put at 6, and I was very happy to be at 6. Very blessed to be at 6. I got to work with awesome people, and I loved it. But once this place I wanted to be because I didn't have experience. I didn't have any experience, and I wanted to go get some fire experience because it don't take too long in Longview to get some medic experience because you're running 20 calls a day. Yeah. But the fire experience, you got to be a particular place in Longview, and it's down there central and on the south side.
That's why I think everybody comes down there. They want
It's
to fight fire.
downtown.
They wanna
Well,
fight
it's the
fire.
culture, but it's what fighting fire breeds a culture of wanting to be good at the job, and especially people that enjoy fighting fire breeding that culture.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
it's just an additive effect.
And it's difficult to build that culture. Very difficult. But it's even harder to maintain that culture. As people come and they go, now I have to maintain that culture. It's very, very difficult. And it's something you have to actually think about doing. So it's
something
hard
that
thing
you're
to
very
do.
good at, though, Cap, is learning what motivates your individual guys. Understanding what motivates me, what motivates Gunner, what motivates Robert, what motivates Sands. You have 4 different guys on your crew that are all motivated differently, right? And so to be able to maintain that, when Robert promotes, I have no doubt the next guy that comes in to fill that spot, we're going to learn what motivates him.
Yeah.
And so being able to maintain that is one of the biggest things I've learned from you from a leadership perspective. Like, learn what motivates your guys, learn what pushes them, learn what gets them going and interest them. And so,
you have to do that as an officer.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, guys. The most important thing to me, the importance of having fun on the job. Dude, we have a great time. And I guess that's where the brotherhood really comes into play, especially for us. Because we genuinely enjoy showing up to work. I'm stoked to come to work. Most times I'd rather come to work than be at home just to hide from my home problems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But it's just, I'm just fortunate enough to be in a place in my life where I have a job that offers that to me. And more importantly, y'all can offer that to me, and, you walk on pins and needles at the station because none of these fuckers have boundaries. You don't know what's going to happen. between the things that happen. I don't want to even talk about all of them, but the flour, the ice, everything else. But and the cool stuff, like the traditional stuff that you did, with the helmet and stuff. I mean, all those things just make the job real fun, and kind of tell some stories that that in y'all's careers that have kind of been traditional things that's made the job fun and just say some bullshit.
We can't tell all the
Yeah,
stories.
obviously.
But no, I mean, having fun, dude, it does so much. It builds camaraderie for one. Number two, it takes your mind off of crap that you might have going at home, any personal crap you got going on. But, something for me as the officer, I was told, when you make officer, you can't be their buddy anymore. You got to be their boss. When they're having fun and they're cutting up and doing whatever, you got to excuse yourself and go in another room. No, I completely disagree with that 100%. The more buddy I am, and the more personal interest I have in you and get to know you, get to know your family, I feel like that's the more you're not going to want to let me down.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so I love having fun. I love pulling pranks. I love jabbing at you guys. You give it right back. I love that. So having fun on the job, I mean, there's so much you can gain from that.
I mean, Captain Nicholson's the king of having fun on the job. I mean, anybody that's worked around him knows the.
Hey, I learned from other guys.
That's true too.
The dipstick game. Pick it up.
Get a Ryan Nicholson and Sam Turner and Killer together. Oh boy, yeah. I mean, building camaraderie through joking around and having fun with each other, but it goes even beyond the fire department, right? Like when you start hanging out with each other outside of work and you develop a genuine friendship, like. Hell yeah, I want to go to work with my friends, right?
Yeah,
I want to go have fun. I want to go spend time with each other and joke with each other and pull pranks on each other. Like, that's fun. And so it's kind of like what Cap said. It takes you away from the seriousness of the job sometimes or home problems or whatever it may be. But you just get to go and have fun and joke with each other and nobody takes it serious and you just have fun with it. So
we had an officer, Steve Orem, who used to say, when you start this job, you put a backpack on. And every call you make is a stone in that backpack. It can be a little pebble or it can be a big boulder. A pediatric arrest, that's a big boulder, right? And you're carrying that backpack around with you. And if you don't start unloading that backpack, it's going to wear on you.
Yeah.
And over time, it's going to do bad stuff.
Yeah.
To you personally. To me, the laughter and the fun that we have is an avenue to take those pebbles out of the backpack.
I 100% agree.
And it makes doing this job, which sucks at times, the crap that we see, it makes it so much better. It makes it easier.
It does.
Bearable, exactly.
And that's an awesome analogy. That's crazy. I like that a lot. Well, put that in my little backpack.
Put that in your little backpack.
Don't you say anything. Don't you say anything, Trent. I know what you're about to
Door
say.
Explorer,
Don't
looking at.
Don't you say anything. God,
backpack, looking at.
I got
y'all know what I
got
deal
a
with.
kid's
This
backpack.
is
I'm
it.
bringing it tomorrow.
This is all day. I show up to work, we're talking shit. We leave talking
I'm
shit.
bringing you
Well, I mean,
Dora
look
the
at your
Explorer
mustache.
backpack tomorrow.
I hate it. It was bad. They had no boundaries, like I said. And if I shave it, they're gonna shave my whole head. It's gonna happen. They don't care. They don't. If it ain't gonna kill you, they don't care. And that's part of why I like the job too. I like seeing the bad stuff. That's why I'm drawn to it. It's just because I feel like it's my purpose in life. Leaving the military, doing the things that I've done, and which to me has not been a lot, but it's just like having that. When I got out, I had a very big void, and I was trying to find a way to replace it because I was going in a bad place. And I talked to my buddies, it's all the same. And it's just because you feel like you lose that purpose in life. And this job has definitely given me the purpose back. Just being around the brotherhood, being around the sisterhood or whatever, it just gives fulfillment, And that's really what I'm looking for. And I love serving the citizens and everything else, but it's primarily that brotherhood, that culture that comes along with it is what I really enjoy and what I really cherish, It's just a good time. But going back to what you was talking about, the boss thing, whatever, our place, we have to know when to switch that off, I mean, we got to know when to take you serious and when not to take you serious, and kind of my fine lines. If we're talking about training or anything to do with the job, it's all serious conversations. I don't joke. Try not to joke. I try not to do anything that's going to impede taking those conversations seriously, because I do take those conversations seriously, and having that relationship is very important, and I think we do a pretty good job at it,
Yeah, as an officer, every new guy, both of you included, I've pulled you in my office and I've said, these are expectations I have of you as a new guy on my crew. I also ask for your expectations of me. But I tell you, look, I'm going to be your buddy. I'm going to get to know you individually, personally. I'm going to get to know your family, your kids. But don't abuse that, because at the end of it, I'm still your boss. And if you put me in a position to be your buddy or your boss, I'm going to have to be your boss 100% of the time. So don't put me in that position. I feel like getting to know you guys and hanging out outside of the fire station and hearing about your kids and everything that they're doing and your wife's, that's helped that relationship where you don't want to put me in that position.
Absolutely.
So I feel, that, I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah, as a friend, I shouldn't put you in that position,
Exactly,
right? Like,
yeah.
I know what actions I'm going to do are going to put you in that position. You know that before you do it. You knew that before any offense of any SOP or whatever I could get in trouble for. I knew what I was doing before I did that, and I knew I was going to put you in a bad position. So, first of all, putting my relationship as a friend should counteract that. I shouldn't put you in that position if I'm a true friend to you. And so, on the backside of that, like, just being a subordinate, you're my officer, you're my boss, I shouldn't put you in a position to make you have to play that role. So,
I also feel like the more we've gotten to know each other, you kind of know when I'm being your buddy, but you also know when I'm being your boss.
right, I know when you're being serious and when you're not.
Exactly.
It's definitely learning who you're working with, right? Learning what sets them off, what's some of their pet peeves. There's some things that I know he does not like, and he
Yeah, like driving down Cotton Street.
Driving down Cotton Street. I don't learn that one very good.
And they usually get to talk about all this and what he don't like when he does like it. It has me so damn nervous that I finally stepped up to drive. It took me 4 years to get my Class B. Yeah, it took a 30-minute process. That's a whole nother story. Yeah, you go to get my Class B. I'm over there working on my CDL Class A. Embarrassing. If it's gonna happen to anybody, it's gonna be me. Whatever. We'll get past that. But they were talking about how mad he gets if you don't know where you're going on a fire. So next shift, I know that I'm going to be driving and stuff like that, and I'm fucking nervous. I'll show up to work like every time I go to on shift. It's like an hour and a half early. Well, normally I shit, shower, shave, and do everything I need to do. Well, this was sitting on the toilet for an hour and a half, looking at maps with my feet on the wall like that, trying to understand where I'm going.
Trying to figure out where you're going.
Just trying to study, just so I wouldn't make that mistakes.
You got a whole 3 streets memorized now. Huh?
High Street, Green Street, and Timpson.
I love that Timpson stuff in there.
No, and this.
But I don't think that's because you were scared of my reaction or didn't want to piss me off. I think it was more you didn't want to let me down.
I don't want to let you down.
Because if we show up and we're not first on scene, I'm very upset.
Yeah, and that's my thing with anything. Just not want to fail in any way. Why I take everything so serious whenever we are in a serious nature is because I don't want to let anybody down. I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to fail anybody. I don't want to make anyone upset. And, for my wrongdoing, when I could have been better.
I think that's bred through the leadership of the crew, right?
Yeah.
He's bred that from his leadership. I don't want to fail him, and as a crew, we all feel that way. We don't want to fail each other, right? Much less we get into the citizens that we're serving. Like, we don't want to fail anybody. And so, but that mindset of I don't want to be a failure in any aspect of this that's been bred from day one.
Yeah.
I know when I came to the crew, you came to the crew, everybody that's come to the crew has sat down and these are the expectations, and if I don't meet those, that's fail. And so, there's just a mentality that has been bred from day one that I don't want to fail Captain Nicholson. I don't want to fail y'all as a crew.
Yeah.
In general, so
well, it's the same in interviews. Same thing in interviews. Step in the hot seat. You know, like whenever you talk to me or trying to teach me stuff, I'm taking you just as serious as Captain Nicholson. Even though we have more of a bromance going on, because
Definitely have a bromance going on.
but it's just that it's just because there's just I don't know. It's just respect I have for all y'all in the same essence. I don't have respect for one person more than the other. Even when it comes to Robbie and Sandy, it's the same amount of respect, you know. And I'm glad that it's bred that way because not everyone's gonna be like that.
Absolutely.
And you can't take how you treat me or how you treat Trent is not how you can treat someone else because they'll take advantage of you in another way. You know, and you might have known this guy forever. It's just the way that he is. So you got to be very careful with that. I've seen it personally.
But that respect goes both ways too. I respect each one of y'all as well, even though y'all are my subordinates. And I don't want to fail y'all just as much as y'all don't want to fail me, because I recruited y'all here. I'm trying to instill any knowledge that I have, any knowledge that I have, any wisdom that I'm trying to pass on. It's because I've made way more mistakes than you guys have. That's all it is. I don't want y'all to make the mistakes that I've made, and so I don't want to fail you guys just as much as y'all don't want to fail me.
As I'm going to this podcast, and when I bring guys on like this, I'm going into this podcast as a rookie perspective because I am a rookie, and I want everyone to have the same valuables training that I've had and the same, you know, set up for success like I have, you know. So I'm just going to take the hot seat for y'all. So, you know, any advice that you can give for a rookie, you know, what would you give them?
Something that's told to me when I was a rookie by a senior firefighter, day one on job. He pulled me aside and he said, if I got any advice to give you right now, it's shut up and listen. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And I have instilled that throughout my entire career because you never stop learning. You can never stop hearing and growing, and the amount of knowledge you can get just from sitting down and listening to somebody. And we talked about it earlier, just the sitting around the table and hearing stories that these guys tell. You can learn so much from them. So to me, a rookie, yeah, you got a lot of responsibilities, but number one in my mind is shut up and listen.
Yeah, I think coming in as a rookie, you have so much that you're trying to soak up, right? You just need to be that sponge. You come in and you're going through training and you're learning this and you're learning all these different aspects of the job, and you just need to be a sponge to soak it up as much as you can. But at the same time, don't be afraid to ask questions. There's a right and wrong way to ask questions. There's a right and wrong time to ask questions. There's times to shut up and just let's be a sponge during this time, and we'll come to questions later on, right? But being able to be a sponge and just come in and just have that work ethic, show that work ethic, and just have that passion for the job. Like, hey, I'm engaged. I want to do this. I want to learn this. And when you start doing self-initiated training, whether that's looking stuff up, looking for information on the internet, like that fires me up whenever I see that. Like, I love seeing a guy that's just hungry for knowledge, that he's going and doing the research on his own, and then he may come ask those questions later, like, hey, I was reading this. Can you kind of expand on that? Tell me your experience with it, blah, 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 fill in the blank.
And it doesn't matter if it's a stupid question. If you think it's a stupid question,
Yeah, absolutely.
ask it.
Just ask. Like, let's talk about it. And it's kind of like the quote that I've sent you, and I told you that, not in a funny way, that you've been very good at this, but the want to learn the job has to be greater than the worry of feeling stupid. Like, we got to put our ego to the side. We got to stop worrying about how we're going to look. What's it going to make me look like? Am I going to look stupid in front of everybody? Am I going to, whatever excuse we come up with, right? We got to have the want to get that knowledge has to be greater than whatever fear we are of looking stupid, or, oh, I'm stupid because I didn't know this. I should have known this already. And you got to put the ego to the side and stop being worried so much about exposure, right? I think people get exposed. I'd rather be exposed in that situation than on the real thing, right?
For real.
Yeah, a few other things that just came to mind. If you're a rookie inside the station and you can't find nobody around, you better get outside, because they're out there training. They're out there washing the trucks. They're doing something without you.
Shit.
But also, I mean, if you don't get, I don't want to say the word picked on, but if they're not giving you a hard time as a rookie, you better check yourself.
That's a bad sign.
Yeah.
I had a football coach that said, the day that I stop yelling at you, that's the day you start worrying. And so it's the same concept. The day we stop picking on you, the day you're not being picked on, you're not being engaged by the guys, Something you need to check something.
Go ahead and dig your
Something's
coffin.
off. Right.
No, but that's some good valid points to hit. I mean, because rookie's kind of where y'all start, obviously, but that reputation that you get there will travel on forever. It's
Your
not
entire
going nowhere.
career.
And that's a good thing and a bad thing, just the way the culture kind of set itself. I don't think there's a specific reasoning for that. Because first impressions mean everything.
Mean everything.
You know what I mean? And if you don't have that and you just started a bad foot, it's going to be you're going to be climbing up a ladder backwards.
Yeah. You're laying that groundwork that it's so important to get off on the right foot. And because when you start getting a bad taste in some guy's mouth, it's hard to get that second chance to right the ship, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to get it back. And so
we talked about the rookie's perspective, but for people in y'all's shoes that aren't setting this rookie up for success, what advice can y'all give them?
For the rookie?
No, for the people
the
that are,
guys.
that are in y'all's shoes, not setting that rookie up for success.
Care.
Yeah.
Care for the guy. Like, we're hiring the entire fire service as a whole. We're hiring guys that don't have any job experience whatsoever. Their dads might have not ever taught them how to start a chainsaw or run a lawnmower, whatever it might be. That's not their fault, right? It's not their fault that they weren't taught that. So they come on the fire service now, and we're giving them a hard time because, oh, you don't know how to start a chainsaw? What kind of guy are you? What kind of man are you?
Yeah.
And it's not their fault. And they might not have ever been taught that. It's now our job and our responsibility, once we see that, to take them under our wing and teach them. And if you're not doing that, that means you don't care.
Yeah, I know a guy personally that's been in those shoes. His dad died growing up and never had a father figure. Then he became a fireman and stuff, and it's kind of the boat that he was in. But I think he had good leadership and stuff, and they understood the situation, and they didn't hold that against him. But you have to know your guys to be able to.
But the key to that was good leadership, and we go back to learning the background to this guy, learn his life, learn his personal side, get personal with him, so that you can understand. Hey, this guy's had a hard upbringing. He didn't have that father figure. He didn't have what I had. I was blessed to have a great dad that showed me a lot of things growing up. So there's an understanding that comes with that, but that understanding starts with good leadership to be able to dig that out of the person. So,
Yeah.
We're too quick to write them off when in reality we need to be, like Trent said, we need to be understanding them, where they come from, their background, their passion, why did they get into the fire service in the first place, and then build off of that, take them under our wing and build them up. That's caring for somebody, it's building them up.
And that's what I noticed what Trent did with a guy in FTO. He's struggling through FTO and stuff, but he was asking about the freaking movies he watched and what video games he plays. I mean,
right, and it's all about
why would you care about that?
What motivates that guy?
Yeah.
Like, what gets you going? What interests you? And you just got to find a common ground with somebody that's new. When you're training them, like, I want to find a common ground. What can I relate to through training that relate? Like, for me, it was sports. I can relate everything back to sports. That's just what I knew growing up. That was a passion of mine. And so, what is your passion that I can relate whatever topic we're doing to make it click? We got to make things click when we're doing this. And so, if I get something that you're passionate about, that I can relate this to and correlate this to say, hey, this is what we're explaining. This is what we're going over. It's just, it makes it click. It makes it stick with that person because I made it personal to them, right?
And that's some of the, like I noticed with Cap, each time he meets a new guy, that's the first thing he asks him, about their personal life.
Yep.
I mean, it's not even nothing about the fire. Well, the first thing he asks, why did you join the fire service?
Yep.
He asks that to everybody. Then it goes straight into personal life. Not, much less their career or anything else like that. It's just kind of their upbringing.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Are they
pretty
married?
cool.
Do they have kids? What's your family like? Where you from? All that stuff. It's a very informal interview, but it's just, we want to know you. We want to get to know you.
Absolutely.
Cool.
I think a second part of that, I think we're going back to bringing these new guys in. I think there's such a generational change in that we're seeing now in the fire service. Like, the guys that came before me, it wasn't. I'm the why generation, right? Why do we do this? Why do we do that? Why? Like, we all want to know why. We ask questions, and we've been hammered for that for quite some time as a negative. But I think a lot of it comes from a genuine place of just wanting to understand. And there's a generation before us that they didn't ask those
No,
questions.
you don't
It
ask
was
questions.
just you don't ask questions. You just do. You're just a worker.
That-
You just come. You get told this is what needs to be done, and they execute. And my generation, we're dumbasses, so we want to know why. Like, hey, why do I need to do that? Like that don't make no sense. Like explain it to me. And so I think they get frustrated because they never asked questions. They just did. And so coming up underneath that generation of the fire service, there were some voids from my coming up that I didn't even know. Like it was just one of those things. I didn't know what I didn't know, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know the questions to ask. I didn't know culture and leadership and fireground tactics. And I didn't know a lot of stuff that I know now, but I didn't know to ask the questions either. And so when you don't have somebody that's going to pull you from a senior spot and just pull you to the side and say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. And explaining those things to you and pulling you to the side to do that training, they were always just like, hey, this is what we do. We're going to go do it. Just get it done, right?
Yeah.
I don't need you to ask questions. I don't need you to understand. I just need you to do. And now we have a different generation coming up that we need the understanding behind what we're doing. And so we have to change with the generation as times are changing to give that why, to give that understanding. And I think it's been great because it's made us dig farther into it to make sure we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's. We better know our shit if we're going to pass it on to the next guy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so,
I think I came up in a good time in the fire service. Is I worked underneath those guys that were saying, do it because I said so.
right.
And I was like, but why? I just
why?
want to know why.
Yeah,
I'm not like going against your order.
Right.
I just want to know why to have a better understanding. But now I'm on the other end. I want you guys to
I
ask
want
me
you
why.
to ask questions.
Because I want you guys to be thinking firemen. And so the more we do it, I don't have to tell you anymore. You see it, you're thinking, you're like, oh, last time he wanted me to go do this because he saw that. Now I see that, I'm going to go ahead and do this.
Exactly.
That's the whole learning and growing as a firefighter.
My old company commander, he said it best. He goes, everyone deserves a why. You might not like the why.
Yeah.
And you might not get the why now.
Yeah.
But everyone deserves
Everybody
a why.
has to have a why. It's human nature.
And there's a proper time and place to ask the why.
Absolutely.
When we're on the fire ground fighting fire and I tell you to do something,
You do
and
it.
I expect you just do it. And then when we get back to the home, hey, why'd you want me to do that? Well, let's sit down and talk about it.
Right. But that's understanding tactics as well. That's you passing on knowledge to me or Gunner or Sands or Robert, whoever it may be. But it's a genuine place of trying to understand. It's not a disrespectful place of
Right.
trying to understand, right? There's a way to
There's
ask
a
these
time
questions.
and there's a way to
a
ask.
way and
Yeah.
a time.
Yeah.
And so I think it's great that we can come and just be engaged in the genuine want to understand why did we do this. And so through that, it develops your culture mindset becomes a bigger umbrella because now I understand things that you did, which I pass on to Robert, to Gunner, to Sands. Sands is we're all getting the same exposure to that. And now one day I'm going to be an officer that I get to pass it on to.
But on the same point, like you just said, it's made me a better officer because I got to think to myself, if I'm going to tell him to go do this,
Right.
I better know why I'm going to tell him to do this.
Absolutely.
And if I don't know, I better find out.
But it goes off of what you said earlier. You want us to be thinking firemen. That's such a huge change in the fire service, though, because I know for a long time when I was coming up, I was just dumb enough to go. Like, just go. I don't know what I'm doing. Just go. There's red stuff. Go put water on it. Like, go, 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 go. I wasn't looking at building construction and smoke conditions and fire behavior. I never thought one time about that. If I'm just blatantly honest, I mean, maybe I should have. I was stupid, but
You probably weren't taught. Like
but I
wasn't
wasn't taught any of that stuff until we really started digging into it because I'm going to be riding that seat, making those decisions now. But the value in the firefighter getting that read, making the same size up that you're doing in a different way. He's looking at what's my offset, what's my stretch going to be, what are my obstacles. He's making his own size up from the firefighter seat, and that's invaluable. that transitions to a driver size up, an officer size up. Everybody should be doing their own size up.
Yeah, and like translation of that into battle, it's not these General Pattons and Chesty Pullers that are winning these large battles. It goes down to the individual rifleman that's making those initiative-based decisions, to do this and do that, because the captain, the chief might not see the big picture, or the chief might not see the big picture of the fire, and captain sees it and he acts off initiative-based decisions and handles that. And that's why you want people to be thinking individuals, because the hierarchy is not the ones who wins the battles. It always goes down to the individual tactics.
Yeah, like right now, I know I've told y'all before, y'all are all alpha dogs, default aggressive, bulldogs on the end of a chain leash, and I'm holding that leash, right? If I just let go and you guys just go after it, what if now you're that bulldog on the end of the chain, but you're also thinking about everything too? Mm-hmm. How much better are you a firefighter now? You're at a default aggressive, but you're also thinking about crap too.
About it.
Now I can let go of that leash a little bit more, inch after inch.
Yeah, I think the more that we are understanding, I think as a fire service, we're making a huge turn right now with all the UL studies and stuff that we can come out to. And that's a whole nother portion of the fire service. That's another topic. But there's so much scientific based evidence that we're basing tactics off of now. And I think used to it was like, oh, that's what we've always done. This is what worked and this is what we're doing. But there's so much science that they're really putting into, and we can put numbers and factual things to, and you see that, and now we're all dumb firemen, but we're becoming smarter firemen, right? Like we're understanding fire behavior, we're understanding it on a scientific level like we never have before, and so seeing that, well, we've always had this aggressiveness, but now we're matching it with knowledge, and seeing that clash, like we're just getting better, right?
That's awesome,
and so it's awesome.
Battle captain faces every day.
Every day.
But cool, guys. We're going to wrap this up. Thank you for watching TV and Podcast, episode 1. We're going to see you later. And it's a wrap, guys.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was an honor to be out here, man. We absolutely loved it.
Honor for me, guys. I appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Cool.